you very much, Rita. Something in the weekend for everyone, I think you'll all agree, and I'm sure everyone here is looking forward to it as much as I am myself. Our next panel is our on-farm panel. We'll be talking about decisions being made on farm and how farms can react to what's going on in a challenging environment. This session will be facilitated by Aidan Brennan, facilitate a discussion on the challenges and opportunities faced in farming and how research and innovation is responding to those challenges which we face. On the panel will be Dr. Brendan Horan, who will give us an insight into grassland research and how we can maintain our competitive advantage and our ability to grow grass in an ever-changing global landscape. Dr. Donagh is also on the panel. He's a researcher in Teagasc Moorepark in the area of animal genetics. Give us an insight into how animal genetics can provide us with solutions and opportunities that we face. Donal Sheehan is an active farmer and also the founder of Agri, which is based in Agri environmental schemes. Will also give us an insight into the challenges that we face and also around embracing the environment, which I know the Minister spoke about earlier on. So can you please give everyone a welcome?
Thanks, John, and good afternoon, everyone. It's great to be here. It's great to be in a room with so many young people. It really adds a bit of vibrancy to the whole thing. So John has introduced our three speakers, and maybe to begin with, I want to ask him to give 1 or 2 minutes to introduce themselves a little bit further, go into a little bit more detail. But maybe before we do that, why don't you because this is the on-farm stuff, the on-farm part of the conference, why don't you just ask for to raise your hands for different sectors that we're in, so we have a bit of an idea of what everyone's in. Can I raise the hands for those sheep farmers in the audience? Beef? Tillage? Small few. And dairy. Okay, so about half and half dairy, tillage, or dairy beef. Okay, maybe Donal, I'll go to you first of all. A couple of minutes, just introduce yourself there, just as you are sitting down.
Okay, thanks very much, Aidan. First of all, thanks to Regan and Thomas and the Macra for the invitation. Like the Minister, I was spent years at Macra and the rally was always the weekend that you look forward to most during the year, so thanks very much. My name is Donal Sheehan. I'm a dairy farmer from Grasslands, which is only out the road. I have a 75 cow dairy herd, and I'm also one of the people that are involved in the Bride project, which is it's an environmental scheme, but it's a pilot project. The acronym is Biodiversity Regeneration in a Dairy Environment, and the Bride is the Bride River. So we have kind of 2 targets where we're trying to obviously improve biodiversity, but a kind of a byproduct of that is also trying to improve our image and let the public know what farmers can and are doing. So basically what we do is we took farmers in the Bride catchment area, which is this area here that you're in today, and mapped their farms. We draw management plans for their farms specific to their enterprise and specific to the area they're in, with a view to improving biodiversity, bringing back species that possibly are gone and that should be there. And also we try and make them more aware and give them advice as to how they can do that. We strive to get every farmer up to 10% of their land in what we call a BMA, which is the biodiversity managed area. So that's basically what the Bride project is, and it's peculiar there from the show of hands of the 57 farmers that were initially on the project. We've now down to 44, and that came out of a public meeting here in Corrin Event Centre a year ago, where we were expecting 40, we had 40 seats out, and all of the publicity was that farmers have no interest in the environment. That night, when we publicised the event looking for people to get involved, we had 110 people inside the door. We had to get out extra seats, and out of those 110, there were 65 expressed an interest to go into the project. And out of those 65, we've now nominated 44. And of those 44, as I was saying, it's kind of reflective of the show of hands here. We have 19 dairy farmers, we have 15 beef farmers, we have 6 equine farmers, 3 tillage farmers and 1 sheep farmer. And it's a landscape scale attempt to bring back biodiversity, because one farm is never going to bring back biodiversity, or one farm is never going to improve any of the environmental criteria that we're trying to improve. But on a landscape scale, where you have a lot of farmers singing off the same hymn sheet, then you will be able to make an improvement. So that's basically the right project in and with it.
Thanks, Donal. Donal, you over yourself, you've been in Macra, what you're working at?
Yeah, okay, so like Donal, I'm a local man, but I'm on the right side of the border. I'm a Waterford man, just over the border, went to school in Fermoy. Working in Teagasc, Moorepark for the past almost 20 years. Actually, same as Brendan. Brendan just keeps following me around like a bad spell. We went to college together as well, can't shake him off. So my area is animal breeding and genetics. Traditionally we've been dairy, more now beef, a little bit of sheep. Also, it's tough to say, but I've done a bit for the greyhound industry as well, and we keep that a bit quiet. So, kind of claim to fame, I suppose, work very closely with ICBL, but the EBI, things like that, genomics selection, and all the things that go along with it. So, when you think about the EBI, the economic breeding index in dairy, or the terminal index in beef or in sheep, it's all about the derivation of new traits. So, and we probably talk about this, if we're talking about disruption, what are the new traits coming down the line? So, first port of call of us would be to talk to like Brendan and say, well, how do we measure these things? How do we get farmers to do this? Or how do we get gin to measure them in factories? Then, is there genetic variability in there? And I've yet to come across a trait that has no genetic variability in there. If there's any bit of genetic variability in there, we can make a change to it. And then thirdly, and the most contentious of it is, well, how do we weight this? How important is milk composition over fertility? Somebody mentioned A2 milk. Do we select on those? What are the market signals telling us? So that's our area.
Brendan?
Yeah, thanks for the invitation as well today. I suppose my career is probably divided into 2 parts. The pre-2009 period, before quotas were flagged as going, was mainly around increasing the productivity of animals, the strain comparison studies, and lifting productivity through grazing systems. And probably post-2009 then it has really shifted on towards sustainable intensification, looking at stocking rate, and trying to increase productivity from pasture, and all of the ancillary kind of measurements around the environment and so on that go with that. So I suppose that's really reflecting the challenges that's there for farmers as well. It's all farm systems research, so it's productivity plus all of these other challenges and opportunities that we're looking at.
Okay, brilliant. So the title, as we said, was Disruptive Innovation. So I think to get the most out of it, we should keep it as informal as possible and get it as interactive as possible. So if anyone has any questions throughout the session, just put your hands up and we get a microphone to me. I might just go to you first of all, Donal. There's a perception out there, rightly or wrongly, that to be environmentally conscious and to be interested in the environment, you kind of have to sacrifice something. But I mean, my understanding of your own farm is that it's very productive and highly efficient. Maybe just go into a little bit more detail about what's happening with inside your own farm gate.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's very important to let farmers know, especially that if you let your land go wild, which is maybe one perception that might be out there with maybe environmental people especially, that's probably the worst thing you can do for biodiversity. What you want to improve biodiversity is have lots of variation. That's what biodiversity is all about. So you have hedgerows, you have wetland, you have riparian margins, you have woodland, you have all of those habitats, and that's what we focus on in the RIPE project. We focus on habitats, and we focus really on what's on the other side of the wire. You have your cropping area, and then you have what's on the other side of the wire. And we try to, if that's very low, and I see Macra there, traffic lights, something on tonight in the Radisson, but ours is a traffic light system. If you're low being in the rate under 5%, we want you to get up into the orange. And the orange is between 5 and 10, and we really want to get you up to 10% and over. And what we do then is we pay for the capital measures to put in a pond, to put in a field margin, to plant a pollinator plot, to put in a woodland, to get you up those percentage points, to get you to the green, so that your high payments will kick in. And those payments, there's a secondary payment, which is a result-based payment. And all of the habitats on your farm will get that results-based payment. So we go over once a year and we score all of the habitats, which is really not your non-cropping area. Generally speaking, when you talk about grassland, and the grassland that we have, or if it's a cereal crop, there's very little biodiversity in it. So you're really not going to get a huge score. And it's important that we realise that when we talk about grass-based, and giving ourselves a pat on the back for grass-based system, the grass-based system is actually contributes quite a bit to biodiversity loss. So first and foremost, we're looking at the other side of the wire, getting the hedgerows, the woodland, the habitats that I've spoken about, getting them safeguarded and safeguarded for the next 5 years if it's in the budget project you're up. Getting farmers paid for them and paid for improving the quality of them. And if they're low, then deciding that, yeah, we can afford to take out 1% or 2%, and the right project can pay for that. And ongoing, we'll be giving a results-based payment. For my own farm, the first thing I always say is that there's no complex on my farm. We haven't the concrete bed. We haven't skylarks. Mine is an intensive dairy farming farm, but what we are doing is increasing feed margins, taking out little bits and pieces here and there that mightn't have a huge value as a crop or as a food production area, but also they're contributing an awful lot to the other, what we call the ecosystem services. So if it's a wetland, that's contributing to flood prevention. It has its own specific biodiversity. If it's a woodland, it's contributing to lowering your carbon footprint. If it's a field margin, it's contributing to the pollinator loss that we've all heard about. So it's looking after all these little small bits first and foremost.
But don't go back now, what's inside the wire? Like you've mentioned a lot about the hedges and all the rest, but is your farming inside the fence, as you say? Like is that being affected by the Bright project? Like, in terms of go through your journey of stocking rates or fertilizer spreading, have you had to reduce a lot of that?
No, at the moment I'm in derogation, and so its stocking rate is still high.
Yeah.
But it's important to realise, and we might as well say this, like that probably the biggest contributor to biodiversity loss, not to mention all the other environmental issues that we have, is probably stocking rate. Stocking rate is driven by high nitrogen usage because you're dealing with perennial ryegrass, which is dependent on high nitrogen use. Very little biodiversity, like I mentioned, can cope with high nitrogen use and perennial ryegrass. The only things that can are actually the weed species like docks, thistles, nettles and ragwort. So all of the wildflowers and the species-rich grassland that we all had 100 years ago are gone. So the high nitrogen then is also contributing to your nitrous oxide greenhouse gases. It's contributing to a higher stocking rate, leading to high numbers, and we spoke about that earlier on in the debate, where we've increased our cow numbers and we're dealing with trying to lower our it's the ultimate trying to square the circle. And we do need to look at, if we're serious about biodiversity, carbon footprint, water quality is another issue that high nitrogen use has contributed to. So that's where the issues are, and it's up to ourselves.
Just go back to your own farm now for support. We'll want Brendan maybe about that in a second, but how many cows per hectare are you stocked at home?
I've used cow to
2.5, yeah, so overall. Output per cow?
Up to over 500 kilos of meat size.
So really good performance, so you have to say, like, yeah.
We are but yeah, so sometimes, I'm not going to...
And kilos of vein, roughly, would you know how many units an acre?
We try to stay at the 170, but the derogation for me is a safety net.
Yeah.
And we're up to 200 sometimes, it's just a safety net, but no, we wouldn't be up in the very high limit. And I do intend on trying to get below, because a big problem is we're not utilising, the trailing shoe now. When we put out slurry with a trailing shoe, we're not going back 2 or 3 days later and saying, that got slurry from the trailing shoe, we need to cut back the nitrogen. The easy thing is that actually we drive on, we spin around now, we grow a couple of bags. We're not precise enough with the nutrients that we put out. I think that's the issue, and I do think that we can come below irrigation with more precise nutrient management.
Brendan, Donal mentioned there about the grazing systems and its impact on the environment. Maybe just what's your opinion on that, and where are we in internationally, I suppose, and within Ireland in terms of different variation between farms?
So I suppose my reaction, first of all, is he's a bit too modest. Anyone who doesn't know this guy, he's top 10% dairy farmer, high productivity, really good grasslands, good efficient dairy cows and so on. So understating really is, what he's doing. Where we are, I think the question you're asking me is where we are in terms of, I suppose, the emissions. Okay, our emissions profile, we're the lowest carbon footprint per kilo of product produced in the EU based on the EU Giant Agricultural Research output. We're about 7th or 8th in terms of water quality, be it chemical and ecological status, okay, in the EU today.
And is that getting better or worse?
Stable, well, it depends on, I suppose there's some rivers that are improving, some are just improving. Broadly, I would say it's stable. Water quality, I think most reasonable people would say it's overall stable. And then in terms of biodiversity, the studies that have been done, and they're not national scale, they're saying that we have our grassland farms have about between 10 and 13, 14. UCD has shared is about 14%. John Finn has a study out there in the last couple of weeks, and it's saying around 12, 13% on dairy farms. So, in EU terms, we're actually very strong in terms of a lot of the sustainability indicators. I suppose the point, and we're having a debate, so let's have a debate, I suppose, stocking rate, is this the factor that's going to solve all our problems and that? And I suppose, to me, that's too crude an analysis. Yes, as you increase stocking rate, you're more intensive and so on, but, with the technology they have now, white clover and so on, fixing nitrogen, we can see we can grow 13, 14, 15 tons of grass on 150 kilos of N and clover. We have studies that do that. And that gives us an opportunity to utilize a lot of grass at relatively high stocking rates. I don't think that necessarily contradicts in terms of biodiversity. I think, to be fair to most dairy farmers, it hasn't been on the dashboard for the last number of years. It's never been an issue, and now this is a new issue. To me, actually, we can have highly productive, efficient grazing systems and also deliver in terms of water quality and also deliver in terms of biodiversity. But it needs a focus, and pioneers like Donal are bringing that focus to it, which is fantastic.
But can we grow the 16, 17 tonnes that we hear at the Moorepark Open Day and still achieve what Donal is achieving at home?
Whether you're going to get the last 5% in terms of productivity, I'm not so sure. We don't have that answer yet. But can you grow, 15 tonnes of grass, stay low nitrogen, still use fixed nitrogen, and achieve high levels of productivity? Absolutely. It's been done today. It's been done on farms, So absolutely confident that can happen.
And Brendan, when we have you, the disruptors facing grassland farming, whether it's beef or sheep or dairy, what are you seeing coming down the lines?
Well, I suppose, my view on disruption technology is, first of all, it's all about basics, do the basics well. So what is disruptive technology? Today, 20% of our sites are adequate for site fertility. So for me, the first disruptive technology is let's get live out there, let's get the P&K stats up, let's get these farms pumping out grass, for the level of nitrogen that we're currently using. So that's I think like that in terms of let's raise the EBI of our animals, and get away from stock bulls and generate really efficient ruminants to drive productivity from our farms. Thereafter, in terms of, I suppose, clover to fix nitrogen, traditionally it was always used in Ireland to grow grass, and I suppose over the last 20 years, freely available, cheap fertilizer, like anywhere else in the world, there's a lesser reliance on clover. We need to get back to using clover because, high levels of nitrogen, we won't be able to use those in the future. It's highly likely. So, fixing nitrogen, improving animal performance, and more environmentally sustainable intensive agriculture, that's definitely going to be the second part. And then there's a whole stream, a gamut of new technologies coming on, whether it's the low emissions methods in terms of slurry management, whether you're talking about the protected fertilizers, there's all sorts of new technologies, there's precision methods, and other perhaps to talk about in terms of sensors and so on, that will help farmers to identify bottlenecks in our production system and opportunities to improve.
Any questions? I'll put your hands up straight away and we'll get a mic to you. Donagh, maybe just over to yourself, disruptive innovation, disruptive technologies. Where are we going in terms of the animals that are breeding? Is there any change coming down on there?
Well, yeah, I guess the big thing that's happening, everybody's at the moment is the whole issue of sustainability. And unfortunately, a lot of the time the sustainability metrics are based on kind of environment and maybe work to some extent. And the big one is obviously missing the economic sustainability. So we had Jim earlier on talking about dairy, but obviously the big thing in beef is the economic sustainability of it. And we can say what we want about all the other metrics, but if it's not economically viable, then we're reduced. I believe, and we have quite strong evidence to show this from all our disciplines, is that breeding is one of the solutions to this. Like half the gains that we see in performance are due to breeding.
So where can we go with breeding?
Well, if you just take a step back a little, where did we go from a dairy perspective? Dairy wasn't too far behind where beef was 20 years ago, and one of the main drivers there was fertility. Fertility was hindering progress and hindering profitability because the cows were moving out of the herd too early and also had a lower milk production yield. We see what breeding did to that. Right? So over the last 20 years, and you can talk about breeding being slow, but over that 20-year period, it's really only about a 12-year period when things started to ramp up. We've seen a massive change in the fertility status and the profitability status of our herd. If you just look at the next generation herd, for example, which is probably around 10 years ahead genetically of the national average. 92% of cows in calf after 6 weeks, consistently for the past 6 or 7 weeks. All black and white cows. That's unbelievable. So if we start looking at the beef side of things, right, and a very easy one that we could implement. So to breed for something, there's 3 criteria that you need firstly. If you want to put something into any index, be it beef, sheep, or dairy, it must be important. And if we talk again about disruption, the EBI is the economic breeding index, and we may need to reconsider some of those names. So the terminal index, the replacement index in sheep and in beef, they're all economic based. That might be a rethink going into the future from a societal perspective. Secondly, the trade wants to exhibit genetic variability, and every trade, as I said, exhibits that. And then the third one is, can we actually measure it? So that's what it's really going to come down to. And there are some really, I think, low-hanging fruits. If you talk about the beef sector, aged slaughter to me is one of the low-hanging fruits. I'll just give you some back-of-the-envelope calculations. We did this, myself and Andrew Corrin, I think it was two or 3 days after the climate action plan came out that said, I don't know, was it 52 or 54% recommended reduction in subject or something like that. So if we could reduce the aged slaughter of Irish cattle by 1 month, from a carbon perspective, that would equate to 55,000 suckler cows and their calves. We know, based on the terminal years, quite strong loads of evidence, that the high genetic merit animals for the same carcass weight are slaughtered 80 to 90 days younger than the low genetic merit animals. There's 3 months saving, which is the equivalent of around 150,000 suckers plus their calves. So we can talk all we want about methane and measuring methane and product quality and stuff. There is unbelievable low-hanging fruit inside that we can actually get from.
And how much of that is to do with feeding versus the breeding part? But are they just all bull beef that's been fed for longer or more intensively?
No, it's across the different systems. We did it in cooperation with some of the factories. We went into, I know it's a dirty word sometimes, we went into their feedlots where they're all managed exactly the same, and we stratified their animals into 5 groups based on high genetic merit, low genetic merit animals, and they're slaughtered 8 to 90 days younger for the same carcass weight. And I know Brendan and myself had a chat about this earlier, is I think also we need to probably challenge the status quo in all the different species, and one of those is in beef, is we're looking for these large carcasses, and because we have markets for those carcasses, maybe we won't have markets for those carcasses in the 31st of January, I don't know, or the markets will be less, but maybe we need a whole kind of a rethink of our structuring, especially in the beef, and are these the ideal system? Like, we know in grass, in dairying, we push high output, and we know now that there is no correlation between milk yield per cow and profitability. So why are we expecting a correlation between carcass weight and profitability in beef? I'm not saying it does not, but I'm thinking we need to just step back from it and say, right, let's black box scenario, what would you do? And to me, finish them off grass, finish them off earlier, that is sustainable. That is socially sustainable, economically sustainable, but more importantly, it's environmentally sustainable, I believe. But if we could do it tomorrow.
In terms of the dairy, obviously genomics is a big part of it. You know, is there anything else coming on along the line? That was out in 2008, 2009, I think genomics was introduced.
Yeah,
so what's coming next?
Yeah, so like when people talk about genomics or this DNA technology, the first thing they think about is the bulletproofs and the EBI in dairy, the terminal units and beef. There are so many things more we can do with actual genomics. I said, I think around 2 years ago, that in 5 to 7 years' time, I believe that every single animal in this country, bovine animal, will be genotyped and DNA tested at birth. Right? So that's in 5 years' time now, I expect that will happen. You might think I'm mad, but if I had said probably, was it 7 years ago, that every single animal in the country would be tested for a disease called BVD, we'd also think I was mad. So I believe that's going to come in the future. What will that do to us? It'll correct our parentage. So 7.5% of the dairy parentage is wrong. around 15% of the beef parentage is wrong, around 13% of the sheep parentage is wrong. So any of you go out to buy rams, well, you've already bought probably 2 months ago, but so it's the bad news. If you had 10 rams in front of you and you bought one of them was wrong. Right? It was the wrong parentage. So the animal that you thought was a 5-star animal probably could have been a 3-star or 4-star animal. So that's what it'll do. Breed assignment. You're coming to this mart in 5 or 6 months' time. You have a calf in front of you. It looks a bit black, maybe a little bit of brownish tinge inside of it. DNA can unequivocally tell you what the breed composition of that calf is. Is it 23% Jersey? Is it 27% Jersey? Is it 100% Angus? But also, of course, there's massive variability just within the Anguses, right? The major genes. So this is, I think, a big one coming down the line is going to be sire device. We have one in dairy. There's a huge amount more we can do, and it comes back to the male calf issue, or sorry, the surplus calf issue. Is that a lot of guys, and I can understand it, are using the KYA as a word. The very easy calving because the cow or the heifer will just spit that calf out, and that's all the farmer is really interested in. But maybe if it's a bigger, more mature cow, she should be given a more difficult calving bull, which she can handle, no hassle, but it's got a greater sale value. So it's the whole issue of mating the calf or the bull to that particular cow, and genomics has a huge role to it.
But can you find me the bull, or can we breed the bull within the industry that's going to have like KYA, but be a zag, I suppose, by the time it's hanging up?
Yeah, and I give me 5 to 7 years to do it, because if we go back to the EBI, because I did go back to the EBI, because people looked at the dairy beef index bull list and they said, some of those bulls are brutal, why are they up at the top? They're too difficult calving. If you go back, challenge yourself, go back into the old catalogues. Corrin was the top bull on EBI several years ago. Corrin was something like +6 or +7 days of calving. Brutal, but he had huge milk solids. Right? The EBI hasn't really changed since, but what has happened is the breeding program changed. So why Corrin was so high up was he was so good on solids that there was no bull that came anywhere near him with good fertility that could knock him off the list. Once we introduced a lot of the foreign genetics and New Zealand type genetics and bred within ourselves, we pushed that fella down. His EBI probably hasn't changed. He's just, we got above him. So if we look at the carcass, the beef stuff, the advantage how it can go so much faster in beef is that you can't milk the bull, obviously. So if you wait 3 years for a bull to be approved for milk production in dairy, you can get a carcass weight within 15 to 18 months. Highly heritable, you have calving difficulty straight away. So we can, I would say, double to triple the genetic progress in the dairy beef index as you would compared to the beef to the EBI. So yes, I completely agree, or I believe that we can get KYAs that are almost built like Belgian milk.
Very good. Donal, maybe over to yourself again. What's the biggest single thing you've done in terms of biodiversity or for the environment, and you know that has had the greatest effect, I suppose, in terms of those two traits? Or is there one?
There isn't really, you know, it's always going to be, you know, getting back to habitats and maximizing what habitats you have. I mean, I've said it before about, you know, feed margins as dairy farmers, and indeed every farmer, because the land is our limiting factor. You know, the wire is going right up to the hedge in most of the dairy farm, most farms, you know, they're maximizing the use of the land. So taking out 2 metre margin, which is the most difficult thing that our farmers are asked to do, but they're doing it. That probably, for everyone has hedgerows, not everyone has wetland, not everyone has woodland, but everyone still has hedgerows. So just giving a small bit of space beside the feed margin that's where your wildflowers are being lost.
Is that all hedgerows now? Is that all feed margins are going to be picked specifically?
No, we have feed margin for hedgerows, but also any other habitat, riparian, you know, beside the river, taking a 3 metre margin beside the Bray River and a 2 metre margin beside it. It's very simple. It's really disturbance and non-disturbance. Once you stop disturbing the land, pesticides, you're going to get biodiversity back. You mightn't see it. It might be just small invertebrates in the grass. It could be, you know, small mammals or wildflowers. But just taking, you know, disturbance and non-disturbance is a very simple way to improve biodiversity.
Brendan, we're hearing an awful lot about multi-source species and its impact on both in terms of soil health and animal health. Is there any research going on it, or what's your views on it?
Yeah, I suppose it's an area where there's a lot of emerging science. If we look at things like plantain now, there's lots of work going on in New Zealand and places like that around plantain, and it's a herb, it's having an influence on the rumen environment of the animal that's raised. More of the is displaced into the dung and away from the urine, which would be a big advantage for a grazing system. Okay, so a more stable nutrient in the recycling. It's influencing the nitrogen loss pathways for the soil. In New Zealand now it is actually seen as the silver bullet for nitrogen loss. Farms that have, to curtail their nitrogen loss, their leakage of nitrogen, incorporate the high portion of plantain into their swards it's actually included in their inventories to reduce their losses. There's a lot of interesting science around these herbs, chicory as well. They're deep rooting, dense root profile, they increase biodiversity, they fix nitrogen, and basically they're going to hold nitrogen more stably in the soil. So that's a great opportunity. Looking elsewhere in the US, there's some GM grasses now where they've really upregulated the lipid fraction of the grass, and seen by doing that, animals are eating less, capable of higher productivity, and it's also reducing emissions by a matter of 20%. So I suppose to say that the swards we have today are going to change with the emerging technologies, I think is unrealistic. I'd say we'll be dealing with different swards for sure in the future, so there is possibility there. That said, there isn't systems where these things have been put in place. It's coming quite quickly now. So our plan in the next 12 months is to start looking at these in a systems environment where animals are full time on them, measure the environmental footprint, measure the milk, the impacts on milk, and in terms of the overall sustainability of them as a system.
Run them over a number of years.
Absolutely, long-term experiments, and there's potential. There's fantastic potential there still in our systems for further improvements. There's no doubt about that.
John has the mic there, so if any questions, put your hand up. We have them over to the top left.
Yeah, just I spoke about what needs to be done. But how do you plan to, or how could we implement the right project and the improvements in genetics at farm level? We can see the results in the trials and all that, but there's nothing on paper at farm level. How can we make that happen?
So, am I right in saying that your question was how do we implement what's happening at right at farm level? And the genetics focus, okay?
Like the best way for me, and again this is based pure on experience, is demonstration. And Brendan alluded to it. Brendan did his PhD, and in fairness to him, I don't say too many good things about him, but he was one of the three main reasons that sold EBI, because farmers could actually, we had a lot of them came down to the Corrin farm and could see the high EBI and the low EBI levels, and that demonstrated it for them. We have the same in the NZAC flock up on that right, where we have the high genetic merit Irish versus the low genetic merit Suffolks and Texans. Alongside their equivalents from New Zealand, we brought in actual New Zealand sheep in the containers, and then we would have the same from a beef perspective, the high and low maternal index animals. To me, that's the driver, and it's quite clear we can see it in the dairy, is the uptake of EBI. Genomic evaluations was another one, so we have the next generation herd in Moorepark, where they're high EBI versus low EBI, they were all picked off of paper, off a computer, and then they were genome tagged. So that actually did two demonstrations. It showed that EBI works, but also that this genomic or this DNA technology to differentiate the animals. Has to be demonstration.
Go on, have you looked at that?
So, the growing project, and I was up at Niall O'Regan's farm there during the summer, and the very same thing came up. I was explaining how the growing project works, and it came back at me that that's fine, to be planting little plots of woodland and pollinator plots, that the growing project to pay for whatever the rest of it. Well, I would imagine the next cap is going to be heavily weighted towards, initiatives like the growing project and a lot of the other EIPs that are out there. But in the meantime, I would say reducing your pesticides, and it's a very difficult concept to get around, especially we're so focused on having clean, sterile farmlands, with no straggly hedges and very little weeds. But being able to tolerate, a field margin with wildflowers and wild grasses, leaving your hedgerows grow, they're all costing you nothing. It'll save you pesticides, it'll save you on your hedge cutting costs. And by the way, we're not saying not to cut your hedgerows. It's important that you manage them. but that you're managing for biodiversity and all of the other environmental benefits that will give you. Leaving your hedgerows grow, leaving them blossom and mature, it's going to draw down a lot more carbon dioxide than if they were cut every year. It's going to give you a lot more fruit, a lot more blossom for your pollinators and your wild birds. It's also going to enhance the landscape that you're living in, because it will change the way the landscape looks. So you have all those positive benefits from just not cutting your hedgerows. And by the way, we do say side trimming, because if you don't side trim them, you're going to come out onto the field margin and then you're going away with the field margin. So you only won't have that left. So managing your hedgerows, side trimming, stopping the encroachment, reducing chemical usage and pesticides, especially on field margins and any other places that are not required. We really need to, that will make huge benefits for biodiversity before some other environmental schemes want to be rolled out for people that are not in the right project.
I'd just like to add to that, Aidan, just I suppose one of the biggest privileges of our job is that we get to interact a lot with the best dairy farmers and get out on the farm and groups coming into us to talk about research. And one thing that's evident in the last couple of years, and we have to be mindful of and talk about it, is that with all the focus on the challenges we face around climate change and so on, farmers feel like they're part of the problem rather than part of the solution. And yet we've never been more positive about the potential for sustainable food for the future. And in front of us is statistically the best trained generation of dairy farmers we've ever had, beef farmers, tillage farmers, sheep farmers, and so on. So I would say to you, I put it to you to engage with research, get in, look at it, try it out, make the kinds of pioneering changes that Donal has made, and test it out. And citizen scientists, there's no substitute for putting your toe in the water and trying these things out. That's where all the best farmers have made progress over the years, and I don't see that changing for the future either.
We spoke this morning earlier on about the alternatives that are out there to be. But let me show you that whatever biodiversity that's in decline at the moment, you go, skylarks and corncrakes, they don't live in spinach fields or cabbage patches. They have evolved to coincide with livestock farmers. It's just that the intensity has taken over. So, going vegan or going to alternatives is actually going to make the situation worse. And just another maybe consoling thought for you. There was a group of farmers that came out a couple of weeks ago, and I was explaining to them, they weren't private farmers, but I was explaining how simply taking out 2 meters beside your hedgerow will have so much benefit. And it was difficult, I could see, and it's always easy anytime you say this, it's difficult for them. But they didn't dismiss it, and they took it on board, and they were all going to do maybe 100 meters next year and 100 meters the year after. But the same weekend, there was 2 very good New Zealand friends of mine, and I gave them the same farm walk, purely discussing more food production and what we would get out of the farm as far as food was concerned and anything else. And we were walking along the hedgerows with the 2 meter margins. And they just could not tolerate the 2 meter margin. Not just the 2 meter margin, but the hedgerow was also an issue. The hedgerow was actually, this is where we're down in production. So we have still a huge appreciation, I can see that from the farmers that are involved in the Bright project, of what we have. It's just that we're so molded to going down the road of intensification and more product, forgetting about the other positive sides. It's all down to not having a value on those other things. That's what the Bright project is trying to do, is trying to put a value on all of those things that haven't had a value. The woodland, the riparian margin, the field margin, the hedgerow. Because the public, they don't pay for it at the moment, but they do have a value on it. And you're not getting paid as dairy farmers, or as cereal farmers, or as beef farmers. You're not getting paid for that. You're getting paid for to produce as much milk as possible, or as much beef as possible, or as much cereals as possible. That's the target that you have. It does nothing about looking after the environment when you get your milk check at the end of the month. And that needs to be addressed. That's what the Bright project is trying to do, is put a value on the other, what I mentioned before, the ecosystem services.
We've no more questions, we have to wrap it up, I'm afraid, so time is running out, we'll be here for that longer. I think the take-home message for me, anyway, is particularly supposed to be Donal about the importance of maintaining it. You can maintain biodiversity and enhance it, while at the same time running a productive and profitable farm. I'd like to thank our 3 speakers, Donagh, Horan, Horan, and Donal Sheehan, so take a round of applause.
provocative session of the evening. So if I could ask Hazel, Sasi and Tom to come to the stage, I'll introduce them in particular in a few moments. Now I do have to say that I find that I'm a bit bemused actually that they should ask me to chair a session on innovation and disruptive technology, considering I'm still using the folder I had at the last Macra rally that was held here back in 1991, I think it was, and it wasn't even new at that stage. On the other hand, I will say, I know that the panelists are putting some technology just into the machine there behind me. The machine is something like a computer. On the other hand, that's the old technology. This little smartphone. Think about this now. This has as much knowledge in it, or can source as much knowledge and information as the people who put the men on the moon in 1969 had at their disposal. Just that little thing. All that technology that brought them to the moon and brought them back, you can source it here in this. The development of technology over those 50 years, it was 50 years since 1969 if I get my sums right, has developed at an amazing pace. Over the next 10 years, 15 at the most, you will see 5 times, maybe 10 times more technology, innovation, disruption and development than you had over those previous 50 years. That to me sums up the rate and the speed at which we are moving in terms of technology. Now, have we the slides for Sasi? And Tom, you'll have your video in due course. That'll be all ready. Okay, what I'm going to do first of all then, returning to my tried and tested technology, I'm going to very briefly introduce our 3 speakers, and we get down to brass tacks. They'll make a few introductory remarks, and I'm hoping then that there'll be good interaction, because I think what they have to say should be very stimulating. First of all, Dr. Sasi Balasubramanian. I'm going to call you Dr. Sasi, you don't mind that. Just to give a view of the scope with which Dr. Sasi operates, he has a degree in engineering, a master's in engineering science, a doctorate in computer science. Currently, he's Director of Research at TSSG, and you're going to be hearing that acronym, so I'll tell you what it is. That's at WIT, which is Waterford Institute of Technology. I'm sure you're familiar with that, but TSSG is Telecommunications, Software and Systems Group. He's also the Principal Investigator in Science Foundation Ireland Research Centre, VistaMilk. And you heard Donagh mention it in passing earlier, and we go into some detail in it in a few minutes. It's a collaboration between that aforementioned acronym TSSG and the Agri sector with support from the Department of Agriculture. And we'll talk to Sasi in a few minutes about VistaMilk in particular and a lot of other things as well. Hazel Williams, a fellow Kilkenny person, she's living in Laois, working in WIT in Waterford. She has a degree in business and arts management as well as an MBA. She's had a multifaceted career. She calls herself a maverick, and I'll let her explain as to why she uses that term herself, but she's worked in arts and cultural organisations, tourism, equine business, Irish food and rural development programmes. But since 2014, and this is the key and the pertinent point for this discussion, she's taken up senior roles at TSSG, that's in WIT, at the Centre for Excellence for ICT and Innovation. And right now she's the Senior Strategic Business Partner for Agri at the TSSG, and she's the Site Manager for VistaMilk, and we're returning to that because we want to develop on that initiative. For VistaMilk at WIT and the Regional Cluster League for Smart Agri Hubs, and that's a project that will drive digital transformation of the European agri-food sector. And the key part of it, because I had the privilege of speaking to Hazel last night on a local radio programme in Kilkenny, the key aspect of all of this funding and development is that we should place Irish agriculture and Irish food at the top of the pyramid in terms of being an advanced agri-economy. I'll put it as loosely as that. Third person here, from across the pond, Tom Pemberton. He's a farmer in Lancashire. That's not all he is. Last year we won the British Digital Innovation Award. He uses drone technology, smartphone technology. He has 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. And he's involved with his farming experience and his farming operation to a far greater degree than the most of it, who sell our dairy, our sheep, our milk as a commodity basically. We sell it on and someone else gains from the added value. He's doing much more than that. Hazel, ladies first. I'll ask you first of all, be comfortable there. Have you any slides on that now? Okay, you want to take to the platform then, and just explain briefly, first of all, about PACE, if you could, P-A-C-E.
Well, before I get to PACE, this is on one of my slides, I suppose just to say, just based on your introduction to do with the mobile phones, when a mobile phone was first shown on the feature in BBC, it was kind of a small satchel, and people sort of laughed. You could hear the audio in the background, and people sort of laughing, and thinking that this technology would never advance. And working with the likes of Sasi, you can see that they have these concepts and ideas that you kind of sit back on and you sort of go, really? You're actually going to do that? And yesterday I read in the Irish Times about how there's a new car being built whereby it will be fueled for a year with cow manure. So everything or anything is possible. That's probably the first thing I would say. I'll just give you a quick, So just to give you a quick overview of TSSG and kind of what we do and our impact on agriculture, and then I'll talk a little bit about PACE. So TSSG, their background is in networks and ICT, but back in 2015 we saw an opportunity for applying the likes of Sasi's expertise into agriculture and what that would actually mean then for agriculture. So we started looking at projects back in 2015, and now I suppose we're one of the leading kind of ICT partners across Europe. And we lead out projects like Demeter, which I'll just explain in a moment. Actually, I'll just go on to that side. Demeter, which is a €17 million project. To win these projects, it's very, very competitively funded across Europe, and we go up against the likes of Agri and the Netherlands, which have about 6,000 staff, 6,000 researchers. We have 80 in TSSG, just to give you an idea of the comparison. And these guys are leading out really kind of global, futuristic technologies. In the likes of projects like Demeter, there's normally about 20 pilots there and thereabouts across lots of different agri sectors, from piggery, poultry, the likes of John Deere is a partner to do with machinery and different things like that. So there's a lot of research within those particular projects, and they're across Europe with leading experts. So Smart Agri Hubs then, the project that I'm leading up, and when Matt was talking about Macra, I don't know how many people know Malcolm Gladwell, the author. So he refers to Moorepark as being somebody who kind of brings together all of these different actors across Europe. So through Smart Agri Hubs, and in particular the digital innovation hubs that are mentioned there are 140 digital innovation hubs, and our role over the next number of years is to bring together all of the major researchers and major industry partners, SMEs and startups, to bring them all together to actually develop products that will have a real impact, I suppose, on farmers on a daily basis. So the reason why this project is really, really important to us is PACE, sorry, the text is just off, is PACE in Kilkenny. We launched a digital innovation hub belonging to TSSG in May of this year, and the reason why we did that is TSSG, I suppose, are always looking to Europe as to what's kind of coming down the line, and what is coming down the line is a requirement for a European leader in this particular space. And given, as I was saying, our expertise versus some of the larger universities across Europe, we feel that Ireland is perfectly placed to try and bring these technologies to market. And we feel that we can do that through this particular organisation, the Kilkenny called PACE. And we hope that it's not just necessarily an Irish or European leader, but that it will be in actual fact a global leader. Through all of these projects, we have open calls and open funding in excess of about €10 million for ideas and concepts that can come from the farming community, startups, SMEs, or a technology that could be repurposed from other multinationals as such. We take our science very seriously and our research very seriously, and some of the ideas come from our own researchers. So this would have started as a basic research program through an SFI research centre that we're involved in called Connect. We would have saw an opportunity then to get additional funding in the region of about 300k from an open European project called Internet of Food. And this particular project we're hoping to spin out next year, which we're undertaking trials in Portugal, Israel and South Africa. It's an early lameness detection device. At the moment, it's saying up on this slide, which is actually out of date, that we can detect lameness in an animal 5 days out before it becomes visible to the farmer. and that would have a real impact on the quality of the milk, the health of the animal, and so on and so forth. So that just kind of gives you a quick overview of what we do.
Perfect, Hazel. I particularly like the last and practical aspect of it, because literally you'll know the cow's getting in, or the farmer will know. You cut down on the drop in productivity, you cut down on the pain to the animal, which is hugely important. It's part of what we do in terms of animal welfare, and therefore you improve your profitability because you have lower costs associated with lameness. That's exactly the practical application of all the highfalutin words that are being spoken, and that's important. Dr. Sasi, I'll ask you to make a few introductory remarks at this stage, please.
Sorry, so I'll start off by telling my name again. It's Sasi Balasubramanian. People call me Sasi, it's understandable why. My background is actually in telecommunications, and I'm a PI in VistaMilk, and our role in this project is actually bringing our expertise in telecommunications and wireless communication systems and pretty much embedding them into the farming infrastructure so that we can actually improve farming practices going forward into the future. So what does that actually mean? So say for example, a lot of you may have heard of 5G. They're actually rolling out now in Ireland, and we're also not long from now going to also hear about 6G. People are talking about very, very high capacity of information that you can transmit. You can see up to today with 4G, you're able to easily watch video transmission on your mobile phone with very little disruptions to the quality that you can actually watch. Into the future, you can actually imagine 100-fold of speed that will actually come through when we actually look at very high spectrum of signals that will actually be transmitted to these cellular networks. So what does that mean for precision farming? With that, with the peculiar spectrums that we're actually going to target going forward into the future, this means that we can actually develop new novel types of sensors that we can actually put on the animals or into the farming infrastructure as well, such as new types of nanotechnology-based patches that we can just stick onto the actual onto the cows. You can actually do very accurate chemical sensing and send this information at very high speed to all the different base stations that you have, allowing us to also even reprogram some of these patches so that they're very, very low cost and they won't cost the farmers a lot of money to actually purchase them and actually put them on the animals. We're also focusing on actually looking at how we can actually create new types of sensors that we can embed onto the ground, and that people will not actually have to remove these sensors, change their batteries, or even worry about them. You implant them under the soil and they'll stay there forever, and that we might come up with new types of mechanisms. We're looking to actually charge and send energy into these devices underground and also to get information out of them. So going forward into the future, what we're trying to look at is new mechanisms that we can actually, number one, take information out from within the actual animal and possibly even reprogram them. You heard a lot about sensing. All of these are all based on electronic types of devices. Do we really want to put a little electronic chip into the actual animal itself? You have problems with not only biocompatibility, but even actually sending energy to actually power them. So what we're trying to look at is new mechanisms of actually doing computing that we can actually insert them into the animal, but all constructed out of cells. So in the very same way that you'll have a software tool that actually allows you to actually reprogram and put codes into your mobile phone, and we actually use a software tool that we can reprogram biological cells that can act as computers and put them into the actual cows or even into the soil as well. So I hope that's pretty much the slide here that we're actually showing, and with these little computers you can actually sense and even produce various different types of therapeutic molecules within the actual cows itself. If you want certain information, you can reprogram the cells, put them into the animals, and then they might be able to sense certain types of pathogen, produce colored dye that might actually come out of the waste, and then from that you will actually know then and there that the animal has certain problems inside them. We have another research that we're actually looking at called digital twin. It's pretty much like a virtual human model that we can actually construct out of software, where we program the actual different organs, the circulatory systems, and we actually connect them all up, and we actually run them within our supercomputer itself. And the whole idea here is that we will be able to accurately model the food. Yeah? Hi. Oh, the phone. Yeah, sure. No, I thought it was me. And what we want to do here is that to accurately model when we actually take certain types of food and their ingredients, how does that affect me and affect you differently? So we might take different parameters from you, your blood pressure, your heart rate, other measures from inside your body, feed them into the supercomputer, and I can predict accurately that with the type of milk you're taking, the composition of ingredients, within 5 years how it will affect your body, within 15 years how it will affect your body. So with that, we might be able to then also create programmable ingredients. Earlier today, you heard about the effects that A1, A2 milk could have. There's some evidence that they could actually lead to, say, cardiovascular type of diseases, neurological type of diseases. We can then actually model this all within the actual supercomputer to actually find out how certain components may affect certain people with different physiological setup. So that's a very, very quick summary of the type of work we're doing. Thank you.
Top class, Sasi. Are we on our way to I have a cow. I want to know how much she's eating. I want to know what her conversion rates are of that food, whether she's in deficit, surplus, production, reproduction, and maintenance of body, and so on. Are we on our way to being able to do that for every animal?
Well, at this point in time, we have the supporting technologies from the wireless communication side of things. We have coverage throughout the whole entire country. And on the nanotechnology side, we're also starting to see emergence of new types of sensors. Now, whether we can actually test them within the actual human body, in the actual animal itself, we're in the phase of actually testing it out. Because, of course, you don't want to have any harmful effects on the actual animal. So that's why we're actually looking at a lot of nanotechnology, new devices that are miniature, that won't have an effect on the animal, that we can feed it in, and also take up all this information out.
Okay, back to you in a moment. Our third panelist, Tom Pemberton, as I mentioned earlier, a farmer from the UK. I met an American last week, actually, Professor Bill Field at Purdue. He was at Purdue. He was speaking, I think, anybody. He's from Purdue University in Indiana. And he said something very stark. He says the vast amount of people in the world today, because we've moved from being a rural to an urban population pretty much, and it's accelerating all over the world, including in China. Almost no one outside of farming now understands anything about farming. They are completely dislocated from the concept that in order to eat meat, you have to kill an animal. They don't think about it, they don't know about it, they probably don't want to know about it. But there's a huge degree of ignorance, meaning lack of knowledge. And that's something Tom Pemberton has attempted successfully to overcome in his work. Tom, you want to play a short video and then give a few introductory remarks. Who can work this? Anyone know what needs to be done to put up Tom's video? 2 minutes. Don't look at me. We can get it up quickly, we will. Otherwise, I'll go straight to Tom for his introductory remarks. Yes, we're in business. We're done.
This is my channel. I'm Tom. Welcome to my farm life. Good morning, everyone. started doing YouTube because we diversificate loads. So we started, my granddad and my great uncle, he started doing milk round. What happened was they started in 15 and 18. My dad took over and now I'm here. I'm actually a 5th generation farmer. We decided to do some raw milk, so that's unpasteurised, straight from the cow. We got a vending machine. And I thought, how can we get to direct to consumer? Because obviously us guys, we know everything that happens at the farm, but people in the general public don't know what's going on. So I decided to make a video on how to use the machine. It did really well, it got 11,000 views at the time, amazing, about 200 on YouTube. And then we thought we'd do more and more, how we really carve, just show what happens behind the farm gate. And obviously you can see from my farm, it's not the cleanest farm in the world, I just show them how it is, we don't try and put it up or anything like that. People start to really like it, especially the general public. I love getting asked questions about why we do things, especially when they say they're not from a farming background. And I think that's what people want to know, what happens behind the farm gates. I think there's a lot of scaremongering of what does happen. It's easy to show a bad video, and I think those farmers just need to promote what we do a bit more and how good we do. So that's pretty much it. We diversified into this raw milk, and then by accident slowly got into filming what we do. We recently opened a farm shop 2 years ago as well, so again all the videos go towards that, how we rear our beef. I sent one of our dairy bulls away to slaughter. I videoed that, obviously did video at the end. You kind of got to be careful what you do video, if people want to see it, there's enough videos out there to see it. I don't really want to put on my videos, you just put a target on your back, personal opinion. So I just I tell them what goes on, but if they want to go see it, they can go find it somewhere else. I don't clean the place up immaculately, I don't power wash it all off, I just show them exactly what it is. You're obviously putting yourself out there, but I think people quite like it, quite like that you're honest, and it's not, things aren't perfect. So that's how we just started, and that's why we do it.
A working farm, telling a good story. Yeah. I mentioned at the outset that you've monetized your work in terms of videos and drones, technology and the internet and so on. Is that a fair summary? How has it helped profitability?
Do you mean through YouTube videos alone, or do you mean through shops?
I'm talking about, you're selling what you were previously selling as just milk. Yeah. Bog standard milk, you're now selling raw milk, pasteurized, semi-pasteurized, you're selling all kinds of local stuff. Is there a better appreciation amongst the people who come to the farm to buy of what you're doing?
Yeah, 100%. So 100% people come to the farm. People come to the farm to say hello, which is great, amazing. Obviously, I'm just a standard farmer that makes these videos, so when they come around, it's amazing. And then when people do buy products from us, we are, let's say, beef, sheep, dairy. They know what they're buying, and I think that's what they like. They like to know what they're buying. Obviously, it's local to me, and that's what they want. That's what the consumer wants. So they come this way.
Everyone can't do what you're doing or won't do what you're doing, but I think we can all gain from the message you're getting across.
Yeah, exactly. It's not as easy if you're in the sticks. It's not a town right now corner. Literally, it's a stone throw away. We've got Little St. Anne's, we're on the coast, and then we've got Blackpool on the road. So I'm very fortunate in that way. But I think what we could do with social media, and what I think a lot of younger people are doing, is just show what we're doing. We were talking about what we're doing for the environment. When you do it for the environment, there's a lot of good social media channels out there. So when they are doing good things, they're keeping hedgerows, not trimming hedgerows back as much, they're doing the margins, post about it, and try and aim it towards, obviously those guys know loads about it, try and aim it towards the general public. Don't just try and aim it to ourselves. I think that's what we need to think about, because we think, how does the general public not know that? But if you were, let's say, if you go take your car into Gary, this is a bad example here because I'm talking about my girlfriend at home, but if you take your car if she took her car into the garage and she had low PSI and tyres, she'd have no idea to talk about. And the mechanic would go, how do you know this? It's because you're in the industry, you know. So if we try and push it towards people who aren't in the industry, I think we'll get such a better response and people will start thinking that, knowing that what good farmers are doing. Which I think anyway.
Okay, Hazel, before we open it up to the floor, back to PACE again, the Centre for Excellence. Tell me how any of the people here with a good idea, maybe a cracked idea that won't work, but they're equally applicable as well, how they could go about developing that and the kind of assistance that's available.
So through PACE and TSSG, we also work with TSSG Home Gateway, and we work through Enterprise Ireland funding schemes. So if you have an idea, I suppose in many ways a perfect example is Niall call, where he had a pain, a problem, and he wanted that problem solved, and there wasn't technology coming out into the market that seemed to be solving that problem for him. So he came up with an idea himself, and he linked in with two other colleagues, and through Enterprise Ireland funding, he would have brought his product to market. So if you do have an idea, because we are firmly of the opinion that farmers are the people who can solve their problems, not necessarily the researchers all the time. Of course, the likes of Sasi can solve very, very complex problems, but sometimes it's for us to understand what those problems are. So if you think that you have an issue, which most farmers do, and you think that you have a solution to that issue or an idea behind that issue, do let us know, and then get us at pace@tssg.org, or you can ring me either, and we can talk it through. But if you have a problem, we can try and find a funding mechanism for you, either through Enterprise Ireland or through European funding to try and bring that product to market. And if it's a case like Niall, where you don't necessarily used to want to farm, then we can try and wrap a team around that and bring that product to market for you as well.
Okay, one more question for Sasi. I mentioned, and you mentioned VistaMilk, and I'll just read the preview. It specifically addresses pasture-based dairy production, that's what we're all involved in, improved processability, that's what Jim Wolf is at, and the generation of novel, higher value-added milk source products. Bring it back down to what's in it for the farmers around this room.
Basically, the whole idea of the project is that we want to basically try to gather as much information from the farmers and then process that information so that we can actually improve efficiency. And what does that mean? It means that all the way from actually developing nano-sensors, small scale, large scale, bring it on the farm and the soil, and us, we're the communication people who are actually going to communicate and collect all that data. Once you collect all that data, it's going to be a large quantity of data that will then apply various different types of data analytic algorithms on top of that, and then basically then come up with a very simple answer that we can then basically feed to the farmers to basically help their practices.
Because we're going back to what Donagh said earlier, sustainability is great if it's environmental, if it's social, but if it's not economic, it's worthless because there won't be any farmers.
Exactly, yeah. You know, like, say for example, you know, today we heard a lot of talks about climate change, new drives towards biodiversity. Yes, there are challenges going forward into the future. It's understandable how these challenges are going to change the way all the farmers are actually going to do their practices going forward in the future. But I also want to say that at the very same time, 30 years ago, we also don't have the technologies we have today, not even going forward into the future. Like there's been a lot of development in ICT, a lot of developments in nanotechnology, nanomaterials. So you'll find that the power of data, the power of information is actually going to be able to assist and solve a lot of these problems. Change the way you actually do your practices. 30 years ago, if you wanted to find out the weather, the only way you could do it is to either you read from the papers, you hear it periodically on the radio or TV, now you can just get it instantly on your phone. So in the future, I think with this power of data, we'll be able to address a lot of those challenges.
Our first question, I want interaction, so keep the questions coming, please.
Sheehan Fitzgerald, Thomas, Macra and Moorepark. My question is for Tom. I suppose just to say, like, well done, whatever you've done so far, I think I've done anything done more because there's a huge disconnect coming between farmers and the public. I suppose we just see a lot we see it on Twitter and Instagram and on YouTube, all the videos, and they are brilliant, like, giving people insight into what goes on farms. I suppose maybe there's a limitation at times, as in the videos can be taken up the wrong way, maybe you have to be careful how they're viewed, I suppose. But do you think maybe that should be more people onto farms like you yourself, also maybe openly to bring, say, to bring schools onto farms, to bring companies onto the farmers just to come to the shop, or it's all through social media? What's your viewpoint on that?
So the question was, because Irish accent's a little bit hard to do you think more farms should do open on Sundays and be open to schools and stuff? Yeah, I definitely think they'd be great. Like for me, that'd be perfect. For someone like myself as well, I'd love to do that. But everyone knows in here, if I had general public kids around, you would need one person to cover two, because they do things, you know what it's like on a farm, especially, again, we're not new site, it's slippy, it's mucky, there's kids moving it all the time, everywhere, so you've got to make sure it's all health and safety, and the cost of doing that, to make sure that's something that I would love to do. I think we're going later to look at some robots, that could be something, again, that'd be great for them to look, because it'd be a new site, obviously, the robots are quite new, nice and clean. And a lot of people do the Open Farm Sundays, and a lot of people on Twitter who advertise it. I've seen a guy who does stuff for schools as well. I think it's amazing. I really condone it, but from my personal opinion, probably for a lot of farms, which is a real issue, is it's just not practical. Health and safety, and we know what the injury rate for us anyway per 1,000. It's ridiculous. I don't know what the actual number is, but it's ridiculous. One of the top 5. And then bring general public in, kids in, it makes things difficult until we start to get health and safety better on farms, and then the injury rate goes down. Maybe we could look at it a little bit more. But I do think we could do, especially new setups, it could be something in a new setup. If you're going on a greenfield site, just thinking now, what we could do is say, well, you've got to have at least 2 open farm Sundays to show what you do a year. You know, it could be part of the planning.
And the question does provoke the fact that social media is open to positive and also negative. We're open to 24/7 scrutiny. If we do something wrong, adversity or inadvertently, it can be used as a stick to beat us.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I missed that point. Yeah, that is, I've definitely had it. You put yourself out there and do it wrong. And it's a bit horrible for myself as well, but you just got to get over it. It sounds so much easier than it is. But I think it's so much easier for people to hate me. But at least if you're, say I video that, I put it out and I explain why I do it, explain the process, at least they know, so they can make a educated decision. So they're not just making a rash decision and they just say, oh, farmers are like this. At least they know I'm like this. Still don't want anything to do with it. That's fine. You know the facts. You know what I'm like. So that's it.
Okay. Before we go to our next question, Hazel.
Two quick things on that point. I was at a discussion group recently actually in Leash around farmers and kind of oversight enterprises, and education came up on it. They were talking about not just education through schools, but they were talking about the volume of teenagers suffering from anxiety at the moment, and how could the farming community kind of educate or assist in education or bring children onto farms with anxiety. And I thought that was really interesting because that was kind of the first time, whilst it was in my mind, it was the first time I'd actually heard farmers kind of talk about how they have an offsite enterprise around it. And the second thing is through VistaMilk as well, part of our remit over the coming years is to go into schools, and not just secondary schools, but primary schools, preschools, because a lot of kids at a very early stage make their minds up as to what they want to do, particularly farming children, because they're in that environment. But I suppose through VistaMilk we're hoping for them to understand that there are lots of opportunities where they can farm, but also they can be offsite enterprises, or they could get involved in research through technologies where they still have a hand in farming, but they're not necessarily farming. So I think that's important as well.
Next question, and keep them coming, people. We'll make the most of our time.
Name Castles at Macra. I suppose we're seeing a huge rate of advancements in agri-technology. Probably agriculture, I would say, nearly more than any other industry, has advanced more in the past decades as regards technology than nearly any other one. But do the panel think that we need to be careful in how we introduce these technologies, that the consumer is getting less and less aware of the realities of farming, and they have this pastoral image of us driving a little Ferguson 20 tractor and wearing tweed caps and this kind of thing, this old-fashioned version of farming in their head. And then if they get suddenly introduced that, well, it's robot milkers and it's nanotechnology getting injected into animals, etc., are we in danger, like with GM, that there's been backlash against that, or we have a backlash against these new technologies from the general public?
Who wants to start on that? Sasi? Are we trying out the baby with the bathwater, maybe? The simple way.
I think it's like any other technology. Back then when any food product came out, you never actually had any information on the different types of ingredients or anything like that. And before you knew it, the population made noise noise about it, they want to know more information. And now on every food package you'll have different types of ingredients and components as part of the food. I also believe that as you see more agri-tech being deployed into farms and practices, you'll also have all those different types of information also being added as well, so that the consumers are more aware of the different information of how that actually food came about through the processing, all the way from the farm to the processing facilities. So I think it's more that we would put the focus on how we would actually, number one, get that information and propagate it out to the consumer so that they'll have better understanding to see the goodness of all this. Could there be any, let's say, for example, negativity of this? Let's say what I presented up there, that you can have a software that can program cells and then everyone can just put it into the animals and they'll do the different functions you want. Could anyone just get hold of that? Yes, they can. That is probably true. At the very same time, we're also looking at new mechanisms of security as well. Security is not like what it used to be before in ICT. You can see now that biological and cyber world is now coming together a lot. So we're developing new security mechanisms to also prevent things like that from happening. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, another question, yes.
How's it going? Sean Wallace from Macra. Some of on one of the presentations there was mention of use of 5G, 6G technology. I suppose in parts of rural Ireland, they're still on 3G or even 2G. Is there a risk that if investment isn't put into infrastructure, that rural Ireland won't be in a position to take advantage of these new advances in agri-tech?
No, that's a very, very good question. Like, one of the things we're actually looking at is also, should it be that they're only based on base stations? Could there be other mechanisms and other types of base stations that's not just based on a single mass that's actually being planted everywhere? Could we maybe give lower cost and small little base stations to each of the farmers so that we plant it on their farm, but then at the very same time we also charge them a little bit of money for the planting out there, but in return they may get different types of data in return. So we're looking at new mechanisms. So what we're going to see a lot in 5G, 6G is heterogeneity in wireless communication systems. Wider use of spectrum. You might have lower data rate, but it can go for a kilometer, or you can have very, very high 100 gigabits, but then it's only like 1 meter transmission. I think we're going to see more of those type of technologies coming in the near future. I think that's one of the priorities for 5G.
Okay, we've got to wrap it up. Sasi, as it happens, I'm going to give you the last question or the last comment. It relates directly to Hazel's ambition to place Ireland at the top of the innovative agri-tech sector, right across Europe or across the world. You did a lot of your third level education in Queensland, Australia. Is Hazel and our ambition attainable, realistically?
I really do believe that. You know, the great thing about Ireland is that, number one, the country is very, very small. In the last 20 years, we've seen a massive ramp up in the actual funding for research, which is really great. In a lot of countries, that's actually toned down a lot. And because we're actually very, very small, the ability for us to interact very, very closely between the different fields and multidisciplinary fields and also the companies, that's also a very, very good thing. And I think that this model we will not see in many, many other different countries. You'll find, say, for example, in Asia, a lot of the investment actually goes into innovation. Recently, we met the president of Huawei, Huawei Technologies from China, and they have a big problem at the moment because they've only been known as people who produce but not invent. So, whoever actually invents any technologies, they will go and actually produce it but not be known as the inventor, so they can make money out of it. I really believe that the strategy Ireland is taking, we are going to be inventors. Inventors are some of the crazy ideas that we presented at. But some of these crazy ideas that, if you hit bullseye, it can really make a massive, massive impact, and we'll be the first to be known for that. So yeah, I really think that the route we're taking is actually very, very good.
Positive note, what I wanted. Tom, Sasi, Hazel, thank you very, very much for participating in the final session of the afternoon. And my compliments to Macra. Rallies being what they are, and as we're heading for the coldest night of the year, you haven't anyone more to snuggle into, well, most of us got a cat. Safe journey to Cork and enjoy the weekend. Thank you.
Before you go, lads, a couple of short housekeeping bits to do. just a few final words. You all got one of these sheets when you came in. It's the Macra skills net. Fill out both sides of it, please, if you can. I just would like to say on behalf of Macra and on behalf of the Agri Affairs Committee, I'd like to thank all of our guests that we had today and all of our speakers, from the Minister to the 3 panels that we had, to Jim Wolfe, the CEO of Dairy Road as well. None of this would be possible, as Ronnie said earlier on, without the support. And just today itself, today wouldn't happen without the staff in Macra or without Thomas's support, the President. The staff here in the Marts and Corrin as well for all the work that they put in. Our soundman, Sasi, for the work that he put in as well. The European Parliament Office for their support in this event today. The sponsors there, those walking doors and Macra Skills Net. A huge thank you must also go to the Rally Committee as well for all the work that they did. Thank you very much everybody for coming. We're looking forward to seeing you the rest of the weekend.